Hello YouTube, welcome to this video. This video is going to be a video request. Somebody inboxed me on Instagram and they wanted to know, could you make a video about your experience with Freeform Locs, the good and bad, people, comments, etc. Actually a pretty good question. Um, so I'll try to do this in stages for you guys. So my experience with Freeform Locs up to now. So let's start with the beginning. And I always tell people, I think this is one of the funniest things about, people who are trying to, what we call today, free forming their hair, or attempting to at least, is that when you first start doing it, like especially if you start from short hair, there's that stage where, you just kind of have the nappy afro and nobody really knows what you're doing. Like, so nobody really questions it too much because it just seems like you just got the little naughty afro, and people don't know where it's going yet. But I say probably, if I can remember correctly, about maybe about a year in or so, when your hair starts to, whenever it is, that moment when your hair starts to clump up and you have, strands of hair dangling. And that's when people start to get worried and people start to ask, yo, like, where you going with this? And then by the time you're about a year and a half, 2 years in, and again, you have, your hair starting to really get really rude. It's starting to, it's starting to form up. And now people are like alerted, like, yo, what you got going on? And, so I think for me, that was kind of the thing. Like nobody knew what I was doing at first. Like, um, to my knowledge, like my family hadn't really, seen dreadlocks like this, or what I was beginning to do. So, eh, you know, when I was really forming, they didn't really care to even really, think about anything. When my hair was like this short or so when I started, my locks. Um, but then as it started to form more, people, they kind of asked me questions here and there about, you know, you're not going to cut that, or maybe associates and things of that nature. They would ask me, you are you not going to get it twisted, or like what you going to do with that? What's your reasoning for wanting to grow your hair like this? So those were, the questions I would get in the early stages. Um, by the time I was 2 to 3 years in, that's when my hair started to form into like the three. If you've been on the channel for a while, like that, like my hair was like this at first, like this one right here. Yeah, it was this one and this one. So they were like kind of on the side, but they were kind of like about this long. And so, and I had the one in the back that was forming. So I had three dreadlocks on. I had three dreadlocks and all. And they would like just clump together. And you know, again, your hair is really starting to get like at this rude stage where it's like forming into these very big dreadlocks, and like people are wondering like what you got going on. People asking if you're okay and stuff like that. I I can say that through the whole time having dreadlocks, obviously these types of dreadlocks anyway, you're going to get your comments. You're going to get your, your not so good comments, whether it be online or in person. Um, but I would say for the most part, I've gotten mostly, positive, comments. Not that that's what I'm looking for, but you notice it. Um, I say that when you open yourself up to being online, I didn't start my YouTube channel uh, up on my hair until, like, I think I was at like 2 year mark, and I came to understand very quickly that everybody who comes by your channel, who sees your videos, it's not gonna be positive, and you shouldn't expect that. Making YouTube videos kind of got me a little bit more used to that. Not to say that you should get used to mean comments, but again, people are gonna come by and they're gonna say stuff. You look homeless. I've heard it all. You look homeless. You look dirty. But I can say that I don't get those comments too much on my channel. Um, Obviously, people are gonna feel how they feel, but you understand that I'm putting myself out here. And once you put yourself out there on social media, you're opening yourself up to not only the good, but you're opening yourself up to the bad, you know. And that's just the nature of the beast. So, I came to understand that like, people gonna come by and everybody's not gonna be like, oh man, I love your hair, and like people are not. There's gonna be people who don't like it. You just what it is. So I I don't let that bother me at all. It's just what it is. Everybody's gonna have their opinion, whether it's good or bad or indifferent. So that's that. But I would say that I noticed people are not usually gonna come up to you like in person, and if they don't like it, like they're not gonna just come up to you and be like, yo, whatever you see online, like the homeless comments, or you look dusty, dirty, whatever it may be, right? They're not gonna come up to you and say that in person. What I've noticed is that when you're in person, they may feel like that. They very well may feel like that, but I noticed that it manifests itself differently. They ask questions instead versus them just coming up to you and be like, "Yo, you look like such and such," or I think this of these types of dreadlocks. You don't get that. Like nobody comes up. I'm not gonna say nobody, but I'm sure some people probably may experience that, but I have not experienced that. So you're gonna get people. They ask questions, and I've noticed that the longer my hair has gotten, the more questions I get now. So what I do now is not specifically because of that reason, but I noticed that when I have my hair in a rubber band, it kind of cuts down on the questions a little bit. Versus me having it like this, right, where it's like hanging and like they can actually see the length of my locks and they can see the formation of my dreadlocks, and it makes them more inclined to, because people like long hair, and so it makes them more inclined to like ask a question. So lately I've been getting the same questions over and over, no matter where I go. I'm starting to get more questions in public now, especially when I wear my hair down. Where you from? Can't be from around here. How'd you get your hair to mat like that? Um, do you ever get it retwisted? Did you ever? How'd you start them? Like all of it. Like those are like the few questions that I get over and over and over. So I kind of know that when I'm out in public, I'm probably gonna get that question, or when I'm hanging with somebody and they got somebody who hasn't seen me yet, they're gonna ask about my hair. I always hear, if somebody hadn't seen me yet, they'll be around the crowd and they'll notice my hair and they'll be like, "Those are them." How did they say it? Oh, those are the real rosters right there. Those are real dreadlocks right there. That's usually what they say. So listen, it goes back to some people. It might not be their cup of tea, or it may be. I don't know, but I don't ask them, do they like these dreadlocks or not. But they see me and these are the things that they say. So a lot of people, I noticed that they separate these types of dreadlocks from like your normal dreadlocks. Like when they see these types of dreadlocks, to them it signifies that those are real dreadlocks. These are original dreadlocks. That's how dreadlocks are supposed to be. I'm not saying that's how it's supposed to be. This is what they say. So you start to get more questions like that. Obviously, I've gotten my bad comments and stuff, but I can't think of anybody who like outright said something bad about my dreadlocks, like face to face. Most of what I get is what I have gotten over the years is online, and even I'm comparative to what I've seen other people get. It's small, on a very small, on a much smaller scale. So, um, but that's really been my experience, man. I don't really think about my hair too much. Like that's why I appreciate when people go to old videos, or maybe somebody likes an old picture on Instagram or something, and then I can go back and look. Like, I like to watch other people's dreadlock journeys or whatever, but because I don't stand in the mirror and look at my own hair, so I get more appreciation out of other people's hair. Although I appreciate my hair, but I'm not like looking in the mirror, watching my hair grow and stuff like that. So, um, but when people go back to old pictures and stuff like that, and or old videos, then it makes me go back and be like, yo, that's crazy. Like that, this video was 7 years ago, and like look what my hair is at now. Because you know what crazy thing is, I don't know if anybody else experienced this, but when you start to grow your hair, I know for me personally, like I had never had long hair. Most of my life I've never had long hair until I started growing my dreadlocks. And you kind of, when you grow your hair, you know what types of dreads, when you know types of dreadlocks you're growing, and then there's still something in you that's like, man, I can't believe my hair is this long. And then I know there's been moments where I kind of said, man, when my hair was, let's say, here, right? When my hair was here, I'd say, I wonder what it's gonna look like when it gets to about here. So I would kind of use my body actually to like gauge my dreadlock growth. Like if it was to my neck, I was like, man, it's almost to my shoulders. And then when it was to my shoulders, I said, man, it's gonna be to my chest soon. And it's gonna be a little bit past my chest, and it's gonna be to midsection. You know what I'm saying? Like now it's to my waist now. So, but I've had these moments where I'm like, man, I can't believe that my hair is this long. Or I couldn't imagine my hair getting to waist length. But when I was at neck length, I was like, man, I can't imagine my hair getting to my chest or to my shoulder, but when it's getting there, and it's like, man, it's like actually happening. So I don't know if anybody's experienced that. It's just a me thing, but you still are in like this kind of like disbelief, what I'm saying, that your hair is actually doing this and it's actually forming how it's forming. Sometimes I gotta go back and be like, yo, I like my hair is like this now. But if you go back and look at the old pictures or the old videos, you'll see the formation, and it was nothing like this. It's like somebody put a whole new set of dreadlocks on me, and it's like that's not how, but again, that's the beauty of growing your dreadlocks like this. You don't know how it's gonna form. You don't know how it's gonna look. If you're in year two, your year two, I'm sorry, if you're in year two, yes, by the time you're in year 4 or 5, it may not look nothing like your year two. You know what I'm saying? So, um, that's the beauty of growing these types of dreadlocks. You don't know what you're gonna get, but it's exciting to see the transformation. It's also exciting. That's why I say, take pictures, man, or take videos. You ain't gotta hop on YouTube or whatever, but keep some old pictures, old videos and stuff like that, so you can go back and look at it, and be like, you can be amazed by it. So, but I would say my experience thus far has been really, really positive. It's been good, man. I like to see the transformation. Some people say that I inspire them, or I encourage them. I appreciate that too. So, but that's pretty much the good, the bad, and the in between. Of having my experience of having these types of dreadlocks. So let me know you guys' experience, whether you have any types of locks you may have, man. You got dreadlocks like this, or another type of dreadlocks, or what has your experience been like? Enjoy your weekend, and thanks for watching this video.